Trash your own manager and department? You get to do a presentation. True story, names changed, years ago, yada, yada, yada. Chad was an engineer with a planning and support department for a portion of his company's infrastructure that impacted virtually every other part of the company. Unfortunately, Chad was a real asshole. During less than a year with the company, he had thoroughly trashed everyone in his department to anyone who would listen. He talked about their incompetence, their screw-ups, which were generally minor, and most importantly their failure to properly support the very mission-critical infrastructure they were responsible for. Every hiccup that occurred, however minor, was used as ammunition. What Chad told everyone who would listen eventually made it up to managers and directors throughout the company.
That wasn't enough though. Chad made the mistake of trashing his own director, who was also his manager. Over the next few months there was no one even remotely involved with his department who didn't know what Chad was doing, including that manager. Chad's manager and director was Tim, a pretty crappy manager by most measures. He paid about 40% less at the industry average and had a staff of B and C players because of it, but he nevertheless expected absolute dedication from that staff. If he could have had them wash his car and pick up his dry cleaning, those things would have been added to their job descriptions. Tim was also pretty poor when it came to understanding what his own staff did and routinely made things up about their work while talking to other people. Everyone involved knew he was full of crap because what he said made no sense at all. Most rolled their eyes, but people also knew that Tim was a force to be reckoned with. Despite his shortcomings as a manager, the one place Tim excelled was corporate politics. He was able to consistently come through failures without a scratch when those failures would have sidelined anyone else. Tim would deftly play opponents off one another, then stand back and watch the fireworks. He had been at it for years and seemed to have a Teflon coating. Crap that stuck to everyone around him would slide right off. Tim, of course, knew exactly what Chad had been saying. Eventually Chad's trashing of his own department became so severe and their reputation so tarnished that a large directors meeting was called to discuss the situation. The other department directors were out for blood.
Enter Tim's ProRevenge. Tim tests Chad, the very person responsible for the company gossip that resulted in the high-level meeting, with the job of putting together and then presenting a formal defense against his own gossip. Chad had to spend the next couple of weeks creating a formal presentation and repeatedly submitting it to Tim for approval. The meeting rolled around and Chad was forced to stand up in front of a large group of company directors and managers and formally defend his own manager and department. Everyone at the meeting knew they were only there because of what Chad had been saying, and they sat back and watched him tear himself apart and prove the things he himself had been telling everyone were flat-out lies. Of course, Tim and his department came through completely unscathed, but Chad was thoroughly discredited throughout the company and knew it. He left that company for another within 6 months of that meeting and Les was heard bad-mouthing everyone involved with his new company. TL. Dr. Chad was an engineer who trashed everyone around him, including his own department manager. That manager was a master at corporate politics and required Chad to formally defend him and his department in a directors' meeting that was only called because of what Chad had been saying. Chad stood up at the meeting and essentially had to prove that everything he had said about his own department was a lie, completely discrediting himself throughout the company and forcing his departure shortly thereafter.
Wow, that revenge is sweet, especially if people are as narcissistic and entitled as this guy. We can only pray Teflon Tim doesn't end up going into politics. Imagine the damage he could do to every Chad out there. Wowzers. Please defend your trashing of your own department to every bigwig at the company. That's like Game of Thrones level backstabbing, corporate style.
Maybe I missed something. Chad sounds like an ass to be sure, but when you described him I wasn't sure who should be revenged. Sounds like shitty Tim removed loudmouth. You're right, but you're an asshole, Chad, in order to maintain the mediocre status quo. Yay team. last heard bad-mouthing everyone in the new company. It is a win for Tim's co. But I wouldn't call this a big win, as Chad clearly didn't learn his lesson.
I can't get over that fact that you said cough instead of hiccup.
Tim is the embodiment of the difference between smart and clever. Yeah, but fuck Tim. Tim is the problem with corporate work. I am confused. What would be Chad's incentive to do a good job on this presentation? Sure, he has to follow orders, but was he simply Tim's mouthpiece, saying whatever Tim directed him to say? Surely Chad wouldn't have contributed anything directly to this presentation except what he was ordered to say. Sounds like Chad was taking lessons from his wife Karen. That's much worse than the Chad on our team who tweeted how he disagreed with the path our company was taking, naming our company. Perhaps he forgot or didn't care that our VP followed him on Twitter. The next day, management was wishing him well on his next endeavors. It's definitely pro, but I came away feeling a bit slimy given those two lovable characters. It's a bit like watching Bane take out Two-Face.
Poetic.
Did they sell tickets at Chad's presentation? I, for one, would pay upwards of $20 to watch a guy finish committing career suicide. Sounds like someone I once worked with. Even if you got something done right and the customer is happy, he'd still lecture you about how he would have done it 10x better. He'd badmouth everyone he could think of in the company, but wouldn't say it with them in the same room as him. He eventually called it quits and moved to the company I was previously let go from. Previous company is a hellhole. I still wonder if he works there. Diabolical. This is beautiful. I am going to use this whenever I hear one of my employees bashing people. Beautifully done. ROTFLMAO. I never heard anyone forcing a presentation. Beautiful. I would have written the lies Tim forced me to write and then at the meeting, flip it, and show evidence of what was actually going on. When Tim complained and tried to show the paperwork I had submitted to him, I would have said Tim forced me to write these lies on paper, or he said he would fire me. Teflon is no match for a metal spatula.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epicaricast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.